Senator Ron Johnson is Republican from Wisconsin, is also a moron who apparently doesn't want things to go back to normal. Why do I say that? It's because he's actually pushing against the very one thing that we all need to do in order to get this coronavirus under control. On Thursday, he questioned the big push to ensure that everybody is vaccinated against coronavirus in an interview with conservative Wisconsin radio host Vicki McKenna, herself a vaccine skeptic, because of course, right? Johnson launched a condemnation of vaccine passports, a credential that would allow businesses to verify your vaccination status. So, look, these are private businesses that are driving the idea, and it's because they want to get back to normal. They want to get back to normal. They want to get back to business. They want to remove restrictions, like, for example, patron restrictions, and get back to making money. Look, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with that. I want to get back to normal. I want to get back to people to be able to, go out to restaurants and things like that. And so turns out having people running around with corona is not good for your business. It's bad for business. And so I understand why businesses want to make sure that anybody who wants to be in your establishment has been vaccinated. I get how that makes people uncomfortable. Honestly, I really do understand. I get it. But at the same time, vaccine passports are not something that has been, that's not new in this country. This is something that has happened before and did not lead to, by the way, a massive, loss in your civil rights and things like that. In fact, kids have had to show vaccine records for a long time in public school. There's a whole history. I'll get into that. And if you go further than that, there are plenty of private businesses that have their own guidelines on what their customers can and cannot do because of the fact that you have to do certain things to protect your customers and protect your workers as well. And so what's interesting, too, is that Republicans generally don't have a problem with eliminating civil liberties for certain kinds of people. And we all know, of course, who those people are, who I am referring to. For example, back in 2016, the Republican Party were actually pushing bills to prevent refugees, migrants, those who are visiting the United States or migrating to have basically their personal space heavily violated. Yeah, under the late John McCain's bill, along with a similar measure introduced by Representative Vern Buchanan, they would require the Department of Homeland Security to examine all their public records, including vaccine records, by the way, as well as internet sites and social media profiles to determine whether an applicant could be a security risk. Well, now, people who are unvaccinated are not a security risk, but they are a health risk, which could also lead to issues of security. I mean, if everybody's down sick, well, then you got a problem. Okay, they're all getting sick from coronavirus. And so as for vaccines, passports, as I mentioned, have been used for quite a long time, actually. The first vaccine passport system was actually developed in the 1800s in response to smallpox. Local health officials and state governments started requiring proof of immunity while traveling or applying for a job. Trained conductors and employers had asked people to show either a scar left by the vaccine or a face that was pockmarked by smallpox, or a doctor's certificate showing that they had been inoculated. Schools had also begun, as I mentioned, requiring proof of vaccination in order to enroll children, a practice that continues today for lots of other diseases. And so the result of that was not a loss in your personal freedoms or liberties. Again, it just didn't happen. Okay. What did happen is that we got rid of smallpox. I would say that's a pretty good trade-off. Those measures proved highly effective at controlling the infections and enabled the economy, the thing that you say that you care about the most, economy, getting back to work, doing all that stuff, that allowed the economy to get back to work. And for the most part, guess what? The public had accepted it as part of the public health bargain. Okay? In fact, back then, the vaccine passport was widely viewed as a ticket to gaining freedom back. And yet you got people, well, for example, Jim Jordan, who's, yelling like, when are we going to get our freedom back? When are we going to get freedom back? When are we going to get our freedom back? Come on, come on. What's the number, Dr. Fauci? When's the date? Give me the exact time down to the second of when we're going to get our freedoms back from the coronavirus. Well, this is your ticket. Your ticket is getting a slight jab in the arm. That's it. And again, if you want to get rid of these restrictions on things like being able to eat out, masks, things like that, if you want that stuff to go away, it will once we all get inoculated, all get the vaccine, and then allow the virus to basically die out. You want to lower that infection rate. Okay, you do so by getting a vaccine. You do so by still wearing your masks and allowing this virus to just naturally kind of peter out. Then we can get back to life. There you go. You know what? We shouldn't call them vaccine passports. We should call them freedom passes. It is a pass to freedom from coronavirus. But unfortunately, Ron Johnson and people like him are so stupid that even though that there's a clear exit sign to the end of this pandemic that is sitting right in front of us, exit, they look at that and think, no, no thanks. I'll pass. Now, Johnson went a step further, declaring that he sees, quote, no reason to be pushing vaccines on people, arguing that their distribution should be limited to those most vulnerable to coronavirus. Reading a ton of articles how now that the elderly population has been inoculated, in large part, the most vulnerable, the sickest among us, right? Now, coronavirus is turning into a young person's disease. Now you have more younger people, 35 and under, right? And all around that, 35, 40s, 20s, people in their 20s going into the hospital. Those are the people that are now getting sick. Those are the people that are now ending up in the hospital with COVID. They're the ones that are on the ventilators. That's the problem, okay? But here's what he says. Quote, if you have a vaccine, quite honestly, what do you care if your neighbor has one or not? Well, I got the answer. Herd immunity, dumbass. No, look, Ron Johnson is deeply stupid and ignorant. He is a problem. Okay. Johnson also said this, quote, that he is highly suspicious of getting the big push to make sure everybody gets the vaccine, saying that it's not fully approved. That's wrong. But also arguing the fact that since it is 95% effective, means only a limited number of people need to get vaccinated. We all know that is not how that works. That is not how this works. He has no idea. Oh, the vaccine is 95% effective. That means that a big chunk of us don't have to get the vaccine. Again, not how it works. What we need to do is we need as many people as can take the vaccine as possible to develop herd immunity, which would suppress the virus and lower infections, lower deaths, and allow us to get back to work. Right now, the more infections that we have, and we have infections in my state alone, infections are exploding in our state because, again, you have a lot of people that have decided, we're just not going to follow the restrictions. We got COVID fatigue, and we just don't want to do it anymore. It'll be fine. We'll go to spring break. No. But the problem with more infections, not only just with people getting sick and hospitals not being able to keep up with the patients, and you've got the problems with ventilators and things like that. The other problem is mutations, variants. Again, we have already seen a bunch of new variants that are actually more infectious than the original strain, and that have taken over as a dominant strain. In the UK variant, for example, and there's the South African variant, I believe, that has made its way around and is getting people sicker and is being able to spread around a lot faster. Now, if we don't vaccinate people, and so far, the vaccines have held up against these new strains. Well, what if you get a mutation, allow a mutation to happen that then makes it so these vaccines are not effective anymore? Well, then you've just undone all the work of the last 5-6 months or longer, actually. All the work undone that was put into the vaccine, all the investment, it goes to waste because we allowed this through our carelessness and not getting vaccinated, this strain to mutate into something that now, oh God, looks like we're going to have to go and get another vaccine, go through trial and error, which also means lockdown, shutting down the economy, all this ridiculous stuff. Yes, the Brazilian variant is killing people between 20 and 40. It is now a young person's disease. Whew. Ridiculous. And so we need to that's why we need to get people more vaccinated. And anybody who has a child's grasp of, basically anything, I would say, of how the world works and how, diseases spread, viruses spread, and how you can stop them, knows this, which says a lot about Ron Johnson. He's not only a moron, but he's a dangerous one at that. And he threatens, he and the people that believe like him, they threaten all the progress that we have made on this front. He's got a platform and yet uses that platform to give legitimacy to dumb ideas, pseudoscience, and conspiracy. That is not good. That is not good at all. Because when you look at how that affects his constituents, it becomes clear that this is the problem. 32% of the residents in Carbon County, Wyoming, for example, that voted for former President Donald Trump by 53 points in 2020, they are vaccine hesitant compared to a 7% hesitancy rate in San Francisco County, California, which went for Biden by 73 points. Now, remember that these vaccines were created under the Trump administration. The Trump administration funded a lot of these vaccines in their push. And so, yes, I believe they do get partial credit for this. They, of course, had problems with supply, of which the Biden administration had to take over and really push for that. But again, you have this vaccine that is turned political when it really shouldn't be. It's health. Health shouldn't be political, and yet it has been turned into something in this country. Everybody should have health care. Everybody should be vaccinated. That is how we get back to normal in this country and actually do something better. And unfortunately, we got people like Ron Johnson that are hurting that cause and hurting the country. Christine McGee brings up a great point over here on Facebook. Even if America were to get the numbers down to zero and maintain, the second you open the borders to other countries who have not gotten rid of it, we'll be back to square one. Which is why, Christine, we need to not just hoard the vaccine. We need to export the vaccine to other countries in order to push them to get inoculated as well. So that, that's really the only solution to that is for everyone to be able to have that vaccine. It's super stupid to have, these vaccines only available to wealthier countries because this virus knows no borders. We're all in this. We're a global society, and we need to have a global solution. You export the vaccine. Absolutely. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.